Who called it a drug?
Right.
When did it become a drug? It was a plant.
Robert F. Kennedy is for this plant. Henry Ford was building car frames with hemp. CBD in its purest form gets rid of fungus in your body. CBD isolate. Now this stuff is very interesting because
How would we have receptors if we weren't supposed to be receiving it?
I use about 20 different cannabinoids every day. My life has done nothing but get better.
Aren't you worried about federal government coming in saying, dude, you can't do this? What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs today in the studio. Folks, as always, got a real treat for you. William O'Boyle in the house. What's up, William?
What's up, big dog?
Now, if you guys don't know who this dude is, because he stays behind the scenes, he's an entrepreneur, former college football athlete who basically took adversity into a mission-driven enterprise and battled an opioid addiction stemming from a sports injury. And then eventually he found solace and recovery through hemp and CBD. So we're going to get into this little bit of a story. If I was you guys, I'd pay attention, because if a lot of you guys can't get sleep, you got pain, injuries, ADHD, various quote unquote illnesses or diseases, as they call them, you might find your answer right here on this episode. William O'Boyle. Meda Leaf Farms. Why Meda Leaf?
Meda Leaf. I would say that I wanted to put a medical feel on it. So it's MEDA as in med. So that's why it's Meda Leaf. I know people are like, oh, meta. No, it's not meta. It's med.
Meda Leaf Farms. You guys can follow them on Instagram, Meda Leaf Farms, or it's actually Meda Lee Farms.
Okay, Brad Leah.
Well,
Meda Leah.
Well, it's Leah, but it's MADALEAFARMS.
It's
all right.
One F.
That's right.
Meda Leaf Farms.
Yeah, Meda Lee Farms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you're a venture capitalist, sir.
That's correct.
So I wanted to do that because I know that you're going to be investing in our product.
My name's in the middle of it.
Congratulations.
Dude, I might do that, actually.
Mm-hmm. We're going to do some great things together.
And here's why. Because, folks, as you know, you can do some research and find actual scientific and medically backed proof that Meda Leaf's products, Meda Leaf Farms, will you can't say cure, but, help. They got all these rules, and that's what I want to talk about. A lot of these people are running around with these issues and these challenges, and they don't realize the answers right in front of them. You got a website, by the way, folks. If you guys look up the website, Meda Leaf Farms.
Meda Leaf Farms, but you can also just go to medaleaf.com. That'll take you there.
Yeah, medaleaf.com, dude. He's got products. He'll ship them all 50 states. What about international?
We can do international. Absolutely.
So guys, I know some of you guys are in Botswana, Bangladesh. We're downloaded in over 100 countries. So anywhere in the world, this guy can ship these products and give people the relief. I would make a product called Relief.
100%.
But ultimately, you had problems at first, which is kind of how you discovered this shit. What'd you have? Sports injury?
Yeah, I mean, so I was sober for 5 years before that farm bill was signed in 2018, and at the time I was dating a lady that had smoked the old plant, the marijuana plant, and I would absolutely sorry about that. I wouldn't do that because I was sober, right? But then the farm bill was signed and I started looking at the characteristics of the hemp plant. And I looked all the way back to 1920 and I found a guy that went by the name of Henry Ford. I'm sure you've heard of Henry Ford before.
Sure.
Henry Ford was building car frames with hemp. So I was thinking to myself, what else can this plant do? So I just start typing in stuff on Google. Lo and behold, hemp protein. You got hemp shirts. You can use it to build a house. And when you break it apart enough, you can start to see things like CBD, CBG, CBN, full spectrum, which is all of those combined, a bunch of other cannabinoids. So 5 years in, I do have CTE, which is something that happens when you take too many hits to the head. And I did. So I got sober and I was thinking to myself, this can't be the way that life is. I can't handle any situation properly when it gets stressful. This can't be the way that it is.
What would happen? Would you get enraged or something?
No coping skills. No coping skills. And if you look at anybody that has taken too many hits, it doesn't matter. Like you can take a look at a Mike Tyson. He's still there. And that's just the way that it is.
See, so earlier we were talking about naming conventions. So like, do you have a product called Chill Out?
No, that's going to become
or like Calm Fury.
Yeah. I know which one's going to be called it though. Not yet, sir.
Yeah, because like that's what I'm talking about. There's people right now going, dude, I got that.
Yes.
That's me.
Yeah.
But they would have never known that their answer is at Meda Leaf Farms.
Yeah, you're right, man. You've hit it right on the head with that. We have a lot of products that, like, so for the CTE, it's a CBG. You take a cannabinoid called CBG, and you could just call it, I don't know, you could call it normalcy. I don't know, you call it sports recovery. You know, because that's really what it was for me. It was sports recovery from numerous injuries.
Now, when you make $1 billion, dude, don't forget the guidance old big dog Daddy B gave you.
I wouldn't forget you if you only made me $100. I think you're a good dude.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You're a good judge of character.
Yes, sir.
And for the listeners, we were talking about his products because his products are all like pure and, you know, all or organic or whatever you call them. Like they're quality shit. But unless you're in that world, you wouldn't know that does that. Or we were talking about sleep. The importance of sleep, a lot of people pass over, especially in the entrepreneur space. I get a lot of entrepreneurs listening, but you know, they're running and gunning and they don't get quality sleep and they don't realize that they're operating at 60% of their capacity because they don't just get quality sleep. So they don't know how to get quality sleep. They don't know that they need quality sleep. And even if they did, they'd say, well, you know, someone might say, well, you know, smoke a joint. That'll get you some sleep. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, I don't do drugs. And so that's just not an option. When in reality, the fact that they even call it a drug, like there's the majority of the population that thinks like cannabis is this bad drug, when in reality, who called it a drug? Right. When did it become a drug? It was a plant. Mm-hmm. In 1920, something happened. What happened?
Yeah. So in 1920, there was a system that came in, and I'm not going to get into politics, but there was a system that came in and it was a fresh start for America. And in order to create new industries, you have got to get rid of hemp. Because what does hemp do? Once again, it's textiles, it's paper, it's food, it's houses, it's medicine. So if you eliminate the plant, you can now start looking at the cotton industry, the lumber industry, the pharmaceutical industry, even the oil and gas industry, because hemp can be used as fuel. So when you start looking at that, we could have grew a bunch of hemp. It could have kept.
And it's easy to grow.
You can throw hemp. You could throw a seed on the floor and it'll grow like wildfire. You can just throw it.
Yeah, no maintenance.
No, it's very easy to grow. And
so let's make it illegal.
We got to make it illegal because it's going to do all these things for these people. And could you imagine living in a hemp house where everything around you is still alive, having a plant that you were surrounded with? No, let's do gypsum board, chemicals, and let's do all the other stuff, the paint, all that stuff. Sheetrock. Let's do that instead of doing a hemp house. Yeah.
That'd be interesting because you can get blocks of concrete, but it's not really concrete. It's hemp.
Yeah.
Hempcrete.
It's called hempcrete and it's mixed with concrete because they haven't, I don't think they found a way to make it all glue together just yet. So it's hempcrete right now.
But if someone were to Google how many ways you can use hemp, or now nobody really Googles anymore, they chat GPT it.
Right.
But if they do their research, they're going to realize what you realized.
Yeah.
So I keep interrupting. So what happened in the 20s or whatever to where they just decided to make it illegal? Who got together?
I'm not entirely sure, but a lot of people in the 20s got together. It was a lot of the banking guys that got together and did all this. Anybody who was assuming control over the country at that time had decided that hemp should be illegal for these reasons. It also, if you take a good look at it, it would have knocked out the steel industry too, because again, Henry Ford was making car frames out of the hemp. So now you're looking at what it would knock out, which would be the steel industry as well.
I'm going to type in just to see what it does say. When and how. Hemp became illegal in the United States largely due to economic interests, racial and political fear-mongering, and regulatory overreach, not because of science or public health. Here's a breakdown of how and why hemp was made illegal. Number one, hemp versus marijuana, confusion by design. Hemp is a non-psychoactive variety of cannabis sativa historically used for rope, paper, clothing, sails, and even early car parts. Henry Ford's hemp panels. It contains less than 0.3% THC, the compound that gets people high. Marijuana, on the other hand, is bred for its psychoactive properties, which is high THC. Despite their differences, both plants look similar, making it easy for opponents to lump them together, which is what they did.
Right.
Economic threats to major industries. In the 30s, hemp was a legitimate crop and very promising. Then it became a target by some of these other ones. Key players who saw hemp as a threat: William Randolph Hearst, power guy, owned massive timberland and newspapers. Hemp threatened his paper business. DuPont, huge. I mean, they were convicted of like poisoning a whole town and just got a fine and moved on. They got power, DuPont. Pushing nylon and synthetic materials. Hemp was a cheap, natural, organic competitor. Andrew Mellon, Secretary of the Treasury, invested heavily in DuPont and appointed his nephew, Harry Anslinger, to run the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Harry Anslinger's crusade as the head of this Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Anslinger needed a new enemy after alcohol prohibition. He launched a propaganda campaign to demonize cannabis, which included hemp, and tied it to violent crime, jazz musicians, black and Mexican immigrants. And the famous line was, "Reefer makes..." Oh, I ain't even saying that. Wow. Anyway, do your research, folks. The point being is the Meda Leaf is derived out of hemp, and the medicinal purposes are solving all kinds of shit. Yeah. Sleep,
anxiety, pain, epilepsy, great for pre-workouts, great for post-workouts. I mean, there really isn't something that CBD in its purest form gets rid of fungus in your body. I mean, that's just to give you an example.
And fungus, dude, that's a killer. People don't realize that, when you drink a cup of coffee every day, there's mold in that coffee. Mold's fungus.
United States is one of the only countries that allows the export and import of beans with mold on them, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then we drink it, and we have mold in our body, parasites in our body, and then we get cancer, and then we have to go get approved medicine and pharmaceuticals to try and cure it, because apparently there's no cure to it. When in reality, it could be elderberry.
Could be elderberry sleepy time gummies that we are going to have available shortly here.
Yeah, but if you ever found out that, man, everyone that had cancer took these natural hemp-based products and it cured it, you wouldn't be able to say it.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
Well, I mean, it's a sign of who's in control. We, the people, should be in control. Right now, well, it's changed over time, but historically, we haven't been in control, and we've been told what to do and how to do it, unfortunately. And when the hemp plant was decriminalized and put under the Farm Bill of 2018, it gave us some of our freedoms back to where we can start doing things on our own. So now we have two different platforms. We have a platform of prescription drugs that people can choose. And then we have other natural stuff like the hemp plant, which provides help for sleep, anxiety. One of my employees had obsessive compulsive. He takes a CBGA tincture and has no problems anymore. I've taken it for when I get my teeth pulled. I've just taken pure CBD oil. All my pain's gone away from that. I use it every day. I use about 20 different cannabinoids every day. And my life has done nothing but get better. My brain has gotten better. You name it, it's gotten better. These are all non-psychoactive stuff.
Yeah, but what about like Parkinson's?
Parkinson's, the shakes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I watched a video once where it was outlawed back when I watched the video. It's way more legal now. I'm in Nevada, so like you can go into a dispensary and buy actual weed, like marijuana too. But it's a lot less worried about now. But I watched a video where there's an older guy and he was shaking and he had, I think it was Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he was literally sitting there doing this and like he couldn't help it. And then they gave him whatever was illegal, which why was it illegal is what people should be asking.
Right.
Well, we just explained it. It shouldn't have been illegal at all, but it is. So he just goes through life doing this. Well, they gave him some CBD or whatever it was. Let's say it was weed. I don't care what it was, but as soon as he took it, he went. And he was able to sit there without shaking, having a conversation. And then you talk to some doctors and they're like, we have receptors in our physiology, meaning would we have receptors if we weren't supposed to be receiving it?
Right.
And then you look at that and as long as you can prove that, that's when it flipped on for me. It's like, dude, if my body has receptors for these cannabinoids, it's supposed to be getting them. And then they blocked it, made it illegal. So now you can't. So now I got to go take this pharmaceutically, petroleum-based problem causing medicine that doesn't necessarily fix it. And even if it does, it causes other problems. Why can't I just go get the natural shit?
Right. And then why, and the bigger question is why haven't we been told that we have an endocannabinoid system and every cannabinoid inside the plant is inside of our bodies. And if it's empty, it's going to cause adverse symptoms. Why haven't we been told that? And
what was it originally? I mean, did we eat the plant or do you eat it? Do you smoke it? Like, what would we have done naturally if they didn't ever do that?
Tea.
We would have been drinking tea with it.
Tea is because when you smoke it, unfortunately, it converts to tar, and we want our bodies to be clean. We don't want tar in our system. But people have done tea for a very long time. They would take that same bud and they would put it in their tea. And they would know how it's dosed. It takes time to understand your dosing. And it'd come out. And since the tea is so hot, that activates the cannabinoids inside the flower. And the flower has the most amount of natural terpenes and cannabinoids. So it's going in your tea. This is a great idea for you and I, by the way. And then you drink the tea, and that's where you get your relief from.
We can call it tea.
Tea-tastic?
No, Lee tea.
Lee tea. You can call it whatever. I mean, as long as it
people
works.
would say, is that Leah? Tia?
Leah, Tia, Leah.
People always say, is that Brad Leah? Is that Leah? And I go, I don't know. Do you drink Tia?
Which one would you call the dropping bombs tea? What would that do for you? What would those symptoms be? The dropping bombs. Would it be like a pre-workout before maybe a football game for an athlete or something? So
you mentioned pre-workout. How does it help you with a pre-workout?
There's a cannabinoid called CBD isolate. Now this stuff is very interesting because you don't get your caffeine or your pre-workout high, but you'll be in a workout and you'll notice that you're not getting tired. And what it does is it relaxes your respiratory system and gives you the ability to open up your respiratory system more so you can get more reps in. And all it is you can take it in a gummy or a tincture, put it under your tongue, swish it around. If you need it quick, that'll go through your bloodstream. If you got an hour, throw it in as a gummy and it'll process through your liver. But if you take that, you're going to notice a significant difference in your performance while you're working out. And
without jitters and
no jitters. And I also take it if I need to concentrate during the day and I have one of those days where I do have a little bit of anxiety. Maybe I had a little too much coffee, who knows, or maybe I'm just having anxiety that day. I am humid. So,
it's funny that you say that because I've never, ever really experienced anxiety just out of the blue. Like, if a cop's behind me and I've had a couple of drinks, I get anxiety.
Right.
But like, some people just get anxiety.
Yes.
And dude, I've had it on occasion lately. I got tons of stress, tons of shit going on. And because I'm used to it, entrepreneurs are used to stress. We get so stressed, but we don't even realize we're stressing. To us, it's just another Tuesday.
Right.
Like, dude, you're stressing? No, I ain't stressing. Meanwhile, your hair's falling out. You know, physically, your body is stressing. You just don't realize it. Do you got anything for that? Because I do realize it.
Yeah.
Here's what I need. I need something for sleep. I only sleep 4 or 5 hours. I wake up and I'm so excited to be me and everything that's going on. I jump out of bed and freaking, man, I get another day. I'm all excited and shit. And in reality, my body, I probably need some more quality sleep. So I would at night take something that if it just gave me 1 more hour of quality sleep.
Yeah.
Even the same sleep, but quality sleep. Mm-hmm. Because if you're getting 5 hours of quality sleep, that is different than 5 hours of, you know, what's the opposite of restful? Restless sleep. Then you wake up and you don't realize it because you're an entrepreneur, dude, and you've beat that out of you. You just get up. Well, dude, there's tons of entrepreneurs listening to this. We need to come out with and I know you have products, by the way, guys. This isn't something that we're coming out with. He's got it. All I said was we need to give it names so people understand what it does. I would never have called up and said, yeah, you know what I need? I need some CBG isolate.
Right.
But I would say, oh, dude, I was listening to Dropping Bombs and they said, dude, this shit'll get me quality sleep. And I took it and it's unbelievable. What's it called? You know, sleep quality, whatever.
Yeah.
But where was I going with that? What were you talking about?
Well,
right before?
I think that you were asking
anxiety
is what
no, anxiety. That's where I was going because lately, as I'm getting older, some days I just feel like something's going to break, not in my body, but like in business, it's anxiety at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm starting to feel like shit, there's impending doom. And I do not like that.
Right.
There's people that are living that way. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that there's something on your website that will eliminate that feeling?
Absolutely. I mean, I have a, you can call it a prescription for everyday life. First off, there's no entrepreneur in the world that's not experiencing that. We do it for that reason. We live for that, as weird as that sounds. Can we calibrate it though? That's the question. The way I've been able to, I can't calibrate it without hemp because of all of my experiences with the sport that I love still to this day. But if I was to prescribe somebody some Meda Leaf products, I would say in the morning you get up and you could take a CBD isolate tincture, or you could take a elderberry isolate gummy, which we will rename. And that'll get you started for the day. That'll give you good calibrated energy if you have any sort of anxiety, which you normally don't have in the morning, but that'll get rid of it. Midday, I'll throw a little bit of CBG tincture or a gummy for the continued energy and concentration. And then at nighttime, we have the full spectrum elderberry gummies. Now the full spectrum is good for sleep because it calms your central nervous system and it has an array of cannabinoids in it. It doesn't just have one. So if you have an empty cannabinoid system, we don't know which one is going to help you out. I mean, CBN may, but the full spectrum elderberry gummy has like 9 different cannabinoids in it, and that'll get you restful sleep. And if you do the research on elderberry, you'll see what that does for you too. Elderberry is a superfood. So those 3 together for any entrepreneur, any athlete, anybody that has a stressful life, any anxiety, that'll get you. That's a full course meal for a great day.
And they're all organic and freaking, toxin free. They're just good old nature.
Well, and the cool thing is you could take the tincture in the morning and you can bulletproof your coffee with it because its filler is MCT oil, organic MCT oil. So if
which your brain needs,
if you're bulletproofing your coffee like I am, I'm dropping that in my coffee every morning or tea, depending on my acid levels. You got to watch your acid levels, of course. Dude.
So to get back to your story, so you playing football, you get an injury and you start taking opioids, painkillers.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of Vicodin, maybe a couple Percocets here and there, nothing real serious, just a little pain, surgeries and stuff like that.
And then next thing you know, you're hooked.
Next thing you know, I'll just fast forward. Next thing you know, I got a needle in my arm.
Needle for what?
Heroin.
Dag, dog. Like, see, that's heavy duty shit.
You know what's
right
crazy
there.
about it though, bro? Like, it's everywhere.
Yeah, but that's
story is
heavy,
heavy. I'm still having problems rebuilding my veins.
No shit.
Yeah.
So you were a druggie.
I was, man. I had 10 years of my life that created who I am today, and I'm thankful for it.
Well, yeah, but I always say, yeah, but like, you would have preferred to figure it out another way.
I mean, I almost lost my life. Let's just put it like that. And to have to put my family through what I did, I would rather take a pass on that,
Well, dude, I always tell people, because I'm transparent, I've tried different drugs, like all people laugh when I say it. I say, all the like normal ones, light ones, like Coke, meth,
right,
LSD, those are normal. It's like, well, yeah, like everybody tried those, I think. But like when it came to like heroin,
right,
hell no, that's heavy duty. Like you're near a ledge, you start doing that shit. And now today's version, in my mind, is even worse, fentanyl.
Yeah. Yeah, the fentanyl, it was only in patches when I was around. You could slap one on your body and you'd be good for 3 days. It was wild. But the fentanyl now is nobody knows how to cut it. Nobody knows its strength, and everybody's dying because of it. So I'm super thankful to be alive today, because I don't think I would be if I kept on doing what I was doing.
So back when you were shooting heroin,
right?
Obviously you weren't in business.
No.
What were you?
So
because that usually leads to homelessness and
yeah, I did a little bit of that. That was an interesting time. I can only smile because I can't do anything about it now. But I was a car salesman. I have the most extensive sales career that we've never even talked about that. The most extensive sales career that you'll ever come upon. I have sold everything in every way that you can think of. I understand human psychology in a way where you can't really duplicate unless you go through what I went through. But I was a car salesman, and I had to get away from the construction industry because that's kind of what got me into it.
Were you functioning?
No.
Addict?
No.
Because there's people that you would look at them and not even realize they shoot heroin.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because it's like it's all or nothing for me in everything. I'm either a successful Meda Leaf person that's helping the planet, or I'm shooting heroin all the way in my arm, doing that all the way too. So you got OCD one way or the other. It's all or nothing, and it comes from playing sports, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how good you do in the playing football, you could have done better. So it doesn't matter what I do in my life, I could have done it better. Maybe be kinder to myself, but at the same time, that's what's made me successful.
Yeah. So you had the injury, you started shooting up, and then at one day there had to be a rock bottom. What was that?
Yeah. The rock bottom. It wasn't my rock bottom was overdosing. I had 3 rock bottoms. First one was an overdose, almost die in the hospital, got pushed to go to a rehab, and then came back out and started doing it again. Second rock bottom was prison. And my third rehab. My third was not a rock bottom. It was an awakening of me. My mom was praying over me I was running a car lot at the time, and she knew that I was bad off. My dad was actually working at the store with me. I had hired him because he needed a job, and so I was running the car lot, and I was doing heroin in my office, which is a wild time. And my mom just said, "You need to go to treatment for again." This was like my 5th time, and I said no, and she started praying over me, and she said, I woke up and I said, okay, let's do it. And it wasn't there that I went through a guided meditation, and I never looked back again. I don't really know what happened, but God stepped into my life, and I've never looked back. I got out of
Amen.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I got out, and I met all my friends before I started doing all that stuff, and they showed me who I was again. All my football friends, I started working out again. I started doing all the stuff that I was before that, and that's who I am today. It's pretty amazing.
And then but you discovered the hemp eventually.
5 years into I've been sober for almost 11 years now. 5 years into it, I noticed that crazy CTE where you couldn't handle anything. I took a CBG gummy and it went away. So I've been taking CBG ever since.
Who gave it to you? How'd you know about it?
I bought it offline in 2018.
But how did you know? Were they talking about the symptoms you identified with?
No, I just picked it up and said, let's see what this is all about.
Yeah. So that's why I want to like give it names so people know. That's why, the listeners, because there's people right now going, dude, that was me or that is me.
Yeah.
And the answer is at medaleaf.com.
That's right.
So do you think it'll work for anybody or no, it's only maybe it'll help you?
Everybody's got an endocannabinoid system, so it's going to work for everybody. We may have to tweak what you're using a little bit, but it's going to work for everybody because everybody's got the same endocannabinoid system. Now,
because you've done your extensive research, you're a living demonstration and a living testimony. Can people just hit you up in the DM or something or email you or something and ask questions before I'm
first in line. Yeah, I'm first in line. It's still a really small company and I'm taking a real hands-on approach because I think people's health is a very serious thing.
So his Instagram, folks, right now the business is Meda Leaf Farms, MEDALEAFARMS. But he's also got a brand new one I just urged him to create called The Real William O'Boyle. So number one, to go follow his personal account. He's going to start showing you some behind the scenes daily content that'll help people either build a business or, just laugh. But to go get the products or at least look at them, because you got them on your website.
Yeah.
You'll ship them anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
And they're all legal. So anybody going, well, I ain't taking weed. First of all, it's not weed. Okay. It's a plant, hemp. And it's all the products that are derived from it that are what you really promote, which is tinctures and gummies and various things.
Just breaking apart the plant into its individual cannabinoids or maybe a couple different cannabinoids. And there's going to be a chart on the website and it's going to show you which cannabinoid does what. Right. But we're also going to rename the products just like you said.
Yeah, then it'll make it easy.
Yeah, that's much easier than showing them the chart that I've made.
And not only that, but like certain people, like a lot of people have sleep issues. Yeah. So, I mean, there's sleep coaches. There's a whole industry just because people can't sleep properly. And that affects you in a million ways. So sleep, this solves. ADHD, you can't focus. You got brain fog. You got anxiety. You're nervous. You're enraged. You can't have a balanced, cycle throughout the day. You got all that. You have not exaggerated one bit. It can do all that and it can do more. We just don't have the time. What about like focus? Focus. Yeah. CBG in its pure form is great for focus. I actually have a little bit of CBG right here, right now, because it takes down my anxiety levels and it gives me a more broad view of things. If you ask me a question, it'll give me a more broad view, which is essentially focus, a calibrated energy. If you don't take it, can you definitely feel a difference? I can. But I mean, you think if someone like has sleep issues and they take it, they'll wake up the next day and be like, oh shit, this is 100% helpful. Yeah. Now that's a twofold answer. The first thing is in the beginning, you're going to notice. This is the best part about this plant. You're going to notice that every night you take it, it's going to help. And then all of a sudden you're going to notice you forget one night, 2 or 3 months in, and you had just the same amount of good sleep. It's because your cannabinoid system's now full. Enjoy. We are taking a different approach to things where we are looking for a solution, not a blanket for the problem. That's what's happening. So entrepreneurs 1000% should be going. Who else should be going? Athletes, you said? Athletes is a must. But what about drug tests? Will it pop you for any drug tests? No, there's things that will, but 90% of our products don't have a traceable amount of THC in them. We have Delta 9 gummies that has 5 milligrams of hemp derived THC in them. And then does it make you feel the same?
Not in that dose. Everything that we have is medicinal. So it's such a low dose.
Well, what about the weed smokers that are listening? They're like, well, I ain't interested, dude. I'm trying to get stoned, bro.
Well, get stoned then. We're here to help you out in a different way.
Because here in town, you got dispensaries.
Yeah.
And in some parts of the world that they're not allowed, theoretically, and I guess that's by state, because federally, none of this is allowed. Aren't you worried about federal government coming in saying, dude, you can't do this?
Well, the first thing I would say about being stoned is we've got to take that whole stigma around it. We got to get rid of it, right? Because it is medicine. So there is a flower, a hemp flower called THCA flower, and it will give you kind of the same effects as your other stuff. It's dumbed down just a little bit, but not much. And as far as, the feds and everything, all that stuff, this is protected by the 2018 Farm Bill. It's been decriminalized and put in as an agricultural product. So it is only regulatable by the agriculture industry.
So just like vitamin C
or corn. To make it even more simple.
Yeah. Do you think if they found out that corn cured cancer,
we wouldn't see corn ever
corn
again?
Would go away?
Yeah. What do you, I think absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, but people call us conspiracy theories.
Right. Well, that's why we get along.
But people don't realize, because again, I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm a common sense guy.
Right.
And when you're messing with somebody's, $1 trillion business because it's going to heal people, dude, listen, you think everybody wants to be this philanthropic good dude to spread the love and the joy. And even if it costs me my business, bullshit. Okay, they're going to send lobbyists to Washington. They're going to mask it in a bill, and they're going to keep it away from the average person. I always use Mike Magic Johnson as an example. That dude had AIDS.
Right.
AIDS was killing everybody. How come it didn't kill him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because he had money. He had enough money, and he had enough resources to where it wasn't a death sentence for him, and probably a whole lot of other people we don't even know about that had money. Yeah. So it's a money thing. So you got to look at where the money goes. The money goes to chemo. The money goes to huge pharmaceutical organizations that can afford to spend millions of dollars to make sure that law doesn't get changed. Mm-hmm. And then there's millions of dollars spent on PR to where, again, like if you go read the Chat GPT, they basically clumped hemp into, gang violence and gateway drug, and this is a bad thing. And then they did those whole campaigns, and now the whole world looks at it like it's bad. When in reality, that's a mind control. They brainwash you to not seek healthy, organic, natural solutions to your problems, because there's somebody making money when you buy the otherwise. But then I jump on the other side of the fence and I think, well, why don't they just use hemp?
Right.
Why don't they just make billions of dollars of hemp? Why does it have to be there's some evil people trying to get people sick? And that's where I'm like, I don't know that. Why don't they just use hemp then?
Well, then from my perspective,
like take the Carnegie or whoever it was with the paper, Hearst. If he saw that, hey, this is going to hurt my business, why didn't he just start a hemp division and switch it all to hemp?
Well, when you're around the plant, you're grounding yourself, and I'm sure you know about grounding, right? So if you're around the plant, if your house is made of hemp, now you're grounding because you're inside of hemp. If you're taking the plant on a daily basis, now you're connected to Mother Earth because it grew out of the ground. Okay, when you start looking at what it does, is it can, quote unquote, it can take care of the problem on a more permanent basis. We'll use those because we should, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But that is where you start looking at the dysfunction of the system that we are currently in. If you take one of these products for one of your ailments, you will notice that over time you won't have to take it anymore because your system's full. And we can't have that because it will not create high margins in our society. we're fixing things. This is a blanket society, right? Any product that you buy, you have to buy it again eventually, because this is capitalism. The hemp plant kind of takes away the ability to need to keep on purchasing after time. It's a fix. It's not a blanket. And
so if I take your products for like 6 months, I'm done. Good to go?
Probably less. And you will have to, like, it's kind of like, okay, this is perfect, because I think it looks like you work out, right? Mm-hmm. I work out too. So say you're dosing creatine and you load up, and then you start taking it for a while, and then you go off of creatine because your creatine cycle is over. But then you notice that it's time to get back on creatine again because your body needs it. It's exactly like that. You dose it, and then you'll notice one night you'll forget. This is what's happened with everybody. One night you'll forget, you'll get great sleep, and then you'll get great sleep for 3 or 4 weeks, and then you'll notice that you need a top off.
Or you'll be like, I don't need it anymore. And then you won't take it for a while, and then it gets low and you start to feel different.
You can feel it. You can absolutely feel it.
That'll tell you when it's time.
Mm-hmm. I get a little anxious, and I can't process through emotions, stressful emotions, when I don't have CBG for like a week. And then I just have to drop a gummy or a tincture. They even have CBG flour, which is great. You can isolate that cannabinoid and grow flour for it too, and create tea out of it. And you can do that as well.
So when you took that gummy, you're like, hey, I coped. And then eventually you said, I'm going to start a business.
It started immediately after the first gummy. I figured out how to make gummies in my kitchen. I was like, there's no way that I can not. You ever get in the field in your business and you build this whole thing, and then you step outside of it and you're like, how the heck did I do that? That's how Meda Leaf got built.
No, that's how Lightspeed got built.
Yeah.
It was really on accident and coincidentally, and there wasn't a big master plan. I helped people make money, watched what it did for some good people, realized that money's not the root of all evil, and money is not making things worse. It's actually the opposite. Most people hear more money, more problems.
Right.
And I don't buy it. And I can prove that that's not true, because if you have problems, let's say you have a bunch of money and you have a bunch of problems, and I said, let me get rid of all your money, would you have less problems or more problems?
Well, I mean, that's an obvious answer, but to kind of play off of that a little bit, you know what I noticed? Because I got a little bit of money now. I don't got Brad Leah dropping bombs money, but I got some comfortable money in my account.
Did you say Leah?
I don't know. It's
Lee, just like Leaf.
Leah, whatever, dropping bombs, dude. Now I lost my train of thought.
You don't have Brad Lee money.
It creates the person that you are. So you and me
magnifies.
It has made us who we are. Like I don't care. Like I don't buy stuff. Like this is the only overcoat I have. It's only for this stuff.
And that ain't even an overcoat. So that proves that you don't even know what it is.
Not only that, I just don't care.
Overcoat. That's called a sport coat, bro.
Yeah, that's fine.
Overcoat's like a rain jacket.
I started wearing this because I saw that there's a bunch of people that I like, Grant Cardone and, Elon Musk. These guys wear overcoats. I figure I better buy an overcoat for this event. That's the only reason this is on. Yeah, this is a t-shirt underneath.
They're not overcoats.
Right. Whatever. Sports coat. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Everybody
and
knows
it's not a sports coat. It's a sport.
How is it a sport coat if we're not playing sports?
That's a good question.
Exactly. So it's an overcoat.
How's that a t-shirt?
It's an overcoat because it's over my shirt. I win.
Yeah, that would be true.
But anyway, it magnifies who you are. So I've become this person that just wants to share the information and get people relief that they need. And you've turned into this person that wants to help people grow their business. And as a result, you get reciprocated what you want, right?
Yeah, but more than just their business, I want people to grow personally, because I don't think people have business problems. They have personal problems.
100%.
If they can't figure out their business, it's because they can't figure out themselves. Mm-hmm. And once people realize that it's not that difficult, they're just making it difficult. Then some of them wake up and they think I've changed their life. When I look at them, and every time someone says, "You changed my life," I say, "Did I?" Like, that meme that says, "You sure about that?"
Yeah.
Is that what it says? Share about that. Something like that.
Something like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That guy. I always think like that because in reality, dude, I can't change your life.
Yeah.
Only you can. I can't make you mad. Only you can. I can't freaking do it. Only you can. And that's what people need to understand. If I say something that pisses you off, you chose to be pissed off.
Yeah.
And then when people are like, no, you didn't, it's like, see that defiance and that refusal to believe, that just means your mindset's closed and it needs to be open. Mm-hmm. It's just like your products. Like you think this, but it's not true. Just because you think it's true doesn't make it true. Entrepreneurs are their own problem, and they're looking for all these solutions externally when in reality, the answers are internal. Now, there might be clues outside, like I give people information for sure, but all I can do is, give you the information. If you don't choose to believe it, if you don't choose to take action, if you don't choose to continue, if you don't choose to start, then my information didn't do it. And so that means I didn't do it because all I did is gave you the information. Just like right now, there's people with these issues that you're talking about that you experienced. They're hearing us talk about it. They're hearing you say this is the truth, but they're not going to go to the website. They're not going to order the thing and they're not going to take it. And then 3 years from now, they're going to realize at some point they chose not to do that. They chose to think, oh, dude, this guy's just trying to sell me his pills. He said he was a salesman.
Right.
But in reality, I like when people say I changed their life, but in reality, they changed their life. Absolutely. You got the business started. Let's say I told you to do it. Like we were talking about name your shit. You start naming your shit and all of a sudden sales go through the roof. You'll be like, dude, Brad did that. Brad didn't do that. You did that. You chose to do something. You chose to take action. 2 reasons people don't win. They don't get started and they don't keep going. Mm-hmm. You want to simplify it. That's the simple as it gets.
Yeah, I agree.
So what about, I was telling you, I want to create some products that do certain things. And again, if I sell a product, trust me, I am a testimonial of it. But I want a product that helps me understand and choose what I've coined heavenly energy. So I almost want to call it like heavenly energy. And it really is just a nootropic of some kind that maybe it's CBD 9 or whatever you're saying. Yeah. But I just want something that keeps me optimistic and hopeful and generous and kind and not stoned, but just kind of chill. Yeah. But I want to call it heavenly energy because people also don't realize, dude, we are a frequency. Mm-hmm. We are a vibrational frequency. People say, no, but we're meat and bones. That's a frequency. That's a vibrational frequency. There's atoms vibrating. Yep. So if you choose a heavenly energy, you get more of it. And if you choose negative or what I call earthly energy, well, then you get more of that. You get whatever you choose. Mm-hmm. I want to create something that'll make it easier for me to stay positive and hopeful and optimistic and abundant because, dude, it's mindset.
Yes, sir.
And that shit will help with the mindset.
I have the product.
Was it, what is it literally?
It's sitting on our shelves right now, but we're tweaking it a little bit more because there's one cannabinoid that it's missing. It is a functional mushroom gummy with turkey tail, chaga, cordyceps, lion's mane, and I think one other one with 5 milligrams of Delta 9 in it. Just 5 milligrams. That's all you need. You don't need it. You need a micro dose of it. But what would make it over the top is adding
heroin,
20 milligrams of CBG in it. That will do it. So that's what we're doing. If you throw a little bit of heroin in it, I think we might be on the wrong edge of the stick there, pal.
I might white label some of that.
Yeah.
Don't use the name Heavenly Energy.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just have to, you're going to have to figure out a way to give me an override because I just gave you the formula. I
want confidence. People need confidence.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many people don't have confidence. Mm-hmm. It's like people are like, I'm just not very well. I'm just, it's like almost like, dude, I want to reach into their mind and just turn the knob and have them feel what confidence feels like.
Yeah, that comes from programming, and it comes from, it's a program. We're programmed from 0 to 7, right? So if you don't have these things and programmed in you to program somebody at that age,
you can reprogram.
You can, but they have to want to, and that's the problem. They'll say it, but are they ready to do it? And that's always seems to be the issue. They'll do it once around you because you give them that heavenly energy, but then they can't possess it themselves. It's again. Well,
they can. They just aren't aware of it. See,
right.
That's the thing. Is like, it's subconscious. People are telling themselves a story and they believe it because of their programming and their experiences. So they just believe it. So when I come along and say, dude, all you have to do is this, which is all you have to do, they're like, no, not for me, because they're stuck in that cycle of wrong information and they believe it and it makes it true. And now in order to undo it, they have to realize or believe something new. And yet they're not taking or allowing any new information to come in. Yeah. So again, I tell people, read every day, open up a book and read every day. It makes you think. Once you start to think and get new information, it's possible that you get a new belief, because if you don't get any new information, you'll never change your beliefs, and your beliefs change your actions. Mm-hmm. But to work with people now and give them confidence, I just tell them this. First of all, winning is how you get more confident. Winning. Yeah. So it's like, well, no shit, but that's why I'm insecure, because I never win. Well, number one, you just said it. So words matter, but let's just pretend that that's true. Okay. Well, then start winning every day. Yeah. Well, how do I win if I never win?
Make your bed.
Choose to win. Exactly.
That's a win.
But if you don't think it is it?
I don't know.
But that's what I teach people. Like, lower what a win looks like, because you get to decide. So I decide brushing my teeth is a win. Yeah. So every time I brush my teeth, I'm like, frick yeah, I'm winning. Hydrating, getting my blood pumping, doing the podcast, sharing information, helping a little old lady cross the road, saving $1, walking one more minute on the treadmill, making one more call before I go to work, before I go to bed, spend 5 more minutes with my kids without my phone and distraction, quality time. Some people would say, well, that ain't winning, dude. Well, again, maybe not to them, but it is to me. So I win all day long. I wake up and I start winning. I'm winning all morning long. When I walk into the work, everyone's like, dude, what are you so happy about? Yeah. This is Monday. Dude, I love Mondays. What are you talking about? Monday, dude, it's game on. Like, it's time to win again.
Does an entrepreneur see a day, though? I don't see days anymore. They're all the same. Or I wake up and I win. That's it. Yeah. Doesn't matter what day it is.
I classify that as mindset.
Yeah.
And then there's skill set. You could be a really, really positive, but you're not very good.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get good, and you can get good at anything. Just practice, drill, rehearse.
Good? Keep on losing. Yeah. That's how you get good.
And then the third one is your habits.
Yeah.
Because you can be really talented, really good at stuff. You can have positive mind, but your habits, like heroin, for example, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So there's mindset, there's skill set, there's habits. If you want confidence organically, no herbs, no medicine, no tinctures, just decide that winning is the memory, meaning my confidence comes from the memory of winning. So if you really want to be confident, just start winning at everything you do.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about winning on a small scale like that is, if you wake up in the morning and you're having trouble with self-esteem and all that stuff, make a list and bang it out and see how you feel afterwards. Just a little list, just 5 or 6 things. You will feel so good when that list is all. And every time you check it off, you feel better. And then all 6 are done.
Make another list.
And then you make another list for the next day, or you can add on to that list. But that when I'm having trouble getting up and going, just making a quick checklist, and I'm not talking about on your phone, write it down on a piece of paper. Paper to pen is amazing. And just check it off.
Because what you're doing is you're mentally realizing that you're progressing, and then you start to be a little more hopeful. And the next thing you know, you got momentum, and pretty soon, like, you feel good.
Yeah.
So you want to win in life, You got to win the years. You want to win the years, you got to win the months. You want to win the months, you got to win the weeks. You want to win the weeks, you got to win the days. You want to win the days, you got to win the minutes or the hours. You can keep breaking it down.
Yep.
To where like the second you open your eyes, 1 minute's going to go by. What'd you do? What'd you decide? Did you just lay there? That ain't a win. Well, according to who? It could be for you. You decide.
Mm-hmm.
If I decide laying in bed for 5 minutes, just meditating and being grateful and preparing to get up, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's a win to me, somebody could be like, dude, you're laying in bed for 10 minutes. That ain't a win. As soon as I start listening to the other person, I would agree, or I think that is the loss right there. Like you're seeking validation. You're seeking it from someone else. Like just decide that it's a win and own it.
Right.
Hit the snooze button. You can't win doing that. Bullshit, dude. I've hit the snooze button a million times.
Yeah.
You can't play Call of Duty. You got to freaking grind your face off. Bullshit, dude. I go home and play Call of Duty. You can't smoke weed and win. Dude, I've smoked weed and I'm winning. Like, dude, it's all bullshit.
Yeah. I think that people have lost the ability to realize that they can create the world how they see fit.
Which, by the way, the Bible says
you can create your own world. I have done it. You have done it.
Jesus says in the scripture that you will do greater things than me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're aware that, like, you know, you're divine as well.
Choose who your God is.
So guys, listen, we could keep going for days. I know that I want to help you blow up your business. Meda Leaf Farms, folks. Go get some product. Go follow him on social media. Hit him in the DMs with questions, stories, testimonials, collaborations. You know, he's not a $1 trillion company where you can't freaking, I mean, you might have heard something today and it fits with something you were thinking of. Dude, reach out to William O'Boyle, the real William O'Boyle on Instagram. And right now he has 0 followers. Well, you're going to have 1. I'll follow you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
But as of the taping of this podcast, he has 0 followers. So Bomb Squad, I don't charge you to bring you this series. Do me a favor. Pay me back by going to follow William. Go try his products and then hit me in the DM if he's full of shit and it didn't work. Because I can always delete the podcast.
You could, but
I'll bet I already know what's going to happen because, dude, like I told you, I know people with CBD stories. Before I even knew you, CBD was helping people stop shaking, but it was just, you know, you couldn't get it over state lines or, you know, and then this one person was being threatened because one was a kid. And I guess they lived, I don't know exactly where, so I'll just make it up. You know, they lived in Chicago, but it was illegal there. So they had to drive 300 miles to where they could buy it. And then when they drove it back, it was against the law. So what they had to do was take the kid to this state that made it okay. And then they consumed it there and drove back just for their kid. And they did that for years.
Yeah.
And they're trying to fight to get it legalized. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the government is a bureaucracy machine. It's just not listening to one little kid's problem. Yeah. When in reality, dude, it could be humanity's problem.
Yeah. I think we're headed in the right direction. You know, I think that Mr. Robert F. Kennedy, he is for this plant, both hemp and the other cultivar of it. He talks about ivermectin. He talks about all these natural ways of healing, how to eat. You're eating the same way I'm eating, steak and eggs, right? So these are the base ground rules for how to live your life and get rid of toxins and live life on healthy terms. We have people that care about us and want to make us better finally, and it's very refreshing.
Well, you're joining the crew. Appreciate you coming in, big dog. You got any final words for the Bomb Squad?
Yeah. I appreciate you guys listening. And if you have any questions, just hit me up on Meda Leaf Farms, the DM. I'll personally be answering. I'll give you my phone number and talk to you. I want to transform your life as it transformed mine. This isn't about money. This is about helping people. I will make a little bit of money in the process, but I think that's okay if I'm helping you out. Appreciate y'all. MEDALEAFARMS. Or you can just go to medaleaf.com. We can make it easy. Medaleaf.com or Instagram, Meda Leaf Farms.
Till next time, folks, stay healthy and keep it real.
And we did good.